The interdisciplinary orientation in modern science has brought to the integrated view of human creativity, focus on individual motivation, on why people are willing to create something and how they do so. Bridging the gap between the mind and the world, cognitive linguistics and poetics have moved towards a rapidly growing field of studies on iconicity, creation of text worlds, connections between cognitive and textual structures. For William Blake, a seminal figure in English visual art and poetry of the Romantic Age, the illustrations accompanying his poems went far beyond the design and performance. Blake combined his poems and engravings to create a new world, obviously bringing him joy and satisfaction. Blake's poetic and artistic works, aesthetics and philosophy, repeatedly excited debates and opposite interpretations. Nevertheless, previous works have failed to address an important issue of the intertwine between the poetry and imprints in Blake's book productions. Ut pictura poesis, a poem like a picture, is a well cited quote from Horace, The Art of Poetry. It has turned into a motto which, however, advocates neither imitation nor comparison between verbal and visual arts. Horace's approach gave way to the theory emphasizing aesthetic experience and creativity in arts and literature, and later stimulated ideas about semiotic constructs that consist of several codes cooperating in the production of meaning. We take these approaches as starting points in our research. Blake's pictures, which appeared alongside with the texts on the book covers, had more to offer than just a commercial value increase, entertainment, or reader's imagination trigger. Having established a close bond between the written and visual parts of his books, Blake succeeded in making them integral constituents of his poetic space. Space is an essential ingredient of the poet's worldview, representing a set of features. However, most important for the poet is the vertical measurement in which the universe is revealed. Among the lexical means of verbalization, the most frequent in Blake's poems are the names of the airspace, rising entities, tops, heavenly bodies, etc. As the upper part of the world in Blake's conception is associated with divinity, awakening, and beginning, it is distanced from humans. The vertical is given particular salience in the imprints. The sky or the sun or the flower may be drawn from below and make an impression of dominance. By violating the principle of ordering and perspective, Blake succeeds in focusing on individual objects. The verbal and the visual modes in Blake's poetic worldview operate in tandem and produce the effect of the whole. In cognitive terms, textual and pictorial modes interplay to realize the figure-ground alignment. A good example is a three-stanza hymn to happiness and togetherness called the Laughing Song. The format of the Laughing Song page in Blake's book is a vertically oriented sequence of segments. The title and the stanzas are placed between the images of the people celebrating and a wine twig garland. The space is shared equally between the text of the poem and the pictures. Being framed, the poem and the images make an integrity implying the idea of the unity between nature and humans. As Blake praises the world, both human and natural, the text and its illustration complement each other in the symmetric representation of these two facets. Another example is the image of falling asleep in the illustration to a cradle song created by gradual change of colors. The transition from wakefulness to sleepiness is lexicalized by the verbs denoting creation. A bright example of how meaning is created across the forms of Blake's pieces is his poem called Night. The image of night in the visual mode is formed by stimulating intramodal visual sensations of space, shape, and color. The picture is a vertical depiction of night, of the night sky, occupying the most of the imprint space. Blake uses a broad, tonal range of dark blue and green contrasting with a strong milky highlight to accentuate the focal elements, the verses in the moonlight. The lines of the poem are running on the page as if they are stretching in the air to meet the branches of the tree and become almost indistinguishable from them. The visual image is complemented by a magnificent verbal portrayal appealing to seeing and hearing. With the help of metaphors, Blake worships the glamour of the night. Through repetitions, the poet evokes the feeling of stillness. The alliteration involving the fricative mimics silence. It might even support gravity associations of lightness, as sibilants in English are less heavy than stops. The anaphoric repetition and polysyndeton deliver an artistic effect of sameness, the lack or absence of movement and change. The poem and its presentation demonstrate the efficiency of imagic and diagrammatical iconicity in synthesizing visual and verbal dimensions in Blake's poetic worldview. The poet-painter William Blake efficiently exploited verbal and visual means in order to manifest the centerpiece and less central concepts of his worldview. The choice and application of multimodal tools is determined by Blake's life experience, knowledge of the world, response to external influences, specificity of his imagination. Blake's talent and ingenuity led him to produce multimodal complexes in which verbal and visual dimensions became complementary. The hybrid representation of Blake's poetic worldview resulted in the increased salience of relevant information, more varied imagery, and its elaborate encoding. The study of Blake's Ut Pictura Poesis demonstrated how we can interpret the world through thought, experience, senses, and creativity. This study is another step towards our understanding of aesthetic aspects related to the construing language and visual forms, mental and embodied juxtapositions.